The Real Reason Gen Z Isn't Growing Up by Casey Simpson. Yeah, let's watch it.
Years ago,
I don't know this guy.
epidemiologists at Washington University in St. Louis noticed something strange. They were seeing far more cancer patients, especially lung, digestive, and uterine cancer patients, than ever before. And they weren't seeing these cancer cases in older populations. They were seeing it in young adults, sometimes as young as 25. The researchers knew that cancer occurs when critical genetic damage has accumulated in cells.
Okay,
so they were shocked to be diagnosing members of Gen Z with cancer. Are young people really accumulating genetic damage faster? Is Gen Z aging more quickly? Well, they wanted to find out. They sampled blood markers from over 150,000 adults born between the 1950s and 1990s. The researchers found that millennials and Zoomers born between 1990 and 1999 had a 92% higher biological age gap compared to their real chronological age than did.
Wait, what? What does that suppose to mean?
Between 1990 and 1999 had a 92% higher biological age gap compared to their real chronological age than did Gen X born in the late 1960s.
So what does that mean? That we are aging fast? Like, yeah, we aging slow? I didn't got what... my brain's not braining. Let's continue and see if I understand further later.
Means that Gen Z is genetically aging faster than previous generations.
Oh, buddy,
researchers said this is why so many of them are developing cancers that a few generations ago were completely unheard of in young people. Even after controlling for factors like smoking, Gen Z had more than a 57% higher risk of developing lung cancer. Why the hell is this happening? Gen Z smoke?
That's really crazy, right? Even not smoking. And I see a lot of old folks like around 70s, like it's true smoking, and the lungs are so freaking good.
Smokes less, puts on more sunscreen, and has less lead paint in their walls than any generation. There's only one answer. Stress. Stress is so bad for you, I'm stressed thinking about it. It's like worse than all the drugs put together. It causes heart disease, cancer, stroke, and like just straight up death. So when we see that Gen Z does not want to grow up and cannot get a job, the stress is affecting them at the genetic level.
Apparently, Gen Z is like aging really rapidly.
It is mainly because of the stress. Come here. We live in a time nowadays where millennials look way younger for their age, while Gen Z looks way older for their age. If you don't believe me, I'm Gen Z. Get closer. I am
What the fuck? You are Gen Z? No fucking way. You have at least 35 years old. You're lying. You're lying to me. And no, I don't look old. I'm sorry. I'm Gen Z. I'm looking like Gen Z, you know?
Gen Z, and nobody ever believes.
I'm sorry. People still tell that I have like 50, you know? I'm sorry for that.
When my mom and I walk out in public, people think that my mom is my younger sister. Right? When I tell people, oh, I'm going to go hang out with my family, they think I'm talking about my children. I don't have kids. Right? I'm talking about my parents. I'm still the child. Does that make sense?
Oh no, guys. No. I give the tards all the excuses that they want. No, they start talking about, oh, so you like Mizuki? You like? Did you know that she looks like a child? Oh no, I'm so over. No.
I'll put it to you like this: Zendaya is older than me. Tom Holland is older than me. That's, you know what I'm saying right now? There was one time I wanted an autograph from Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, right? I was standing for hours for this autograph, and when he walked up to me, I said, can you please sign this poster? It's for Jordan, right? He then took it and put, "Dear Jordan, your dad is a great guy. He stood out here for hours," and then gave it back to me. And before I can correct him, he looked at me and said, times were way more difficult back when we were kids. Am I right? And then he tapped my shoulder and left. Dwayne is 52. I am 26. What I'm saying is, so Gen Z definitely looks older. I'm not going to lie to you.
That is hilarious. Someone commented when you said Zendaya is older than me, I screamed.
I'm 25.
21. What the fuck?
I'm not even gonna pretend like I look like what a 25-year-old should look like.
I have the opposite experience. When I was in college, this guy asked me for directions and I gave it to them. And he was like, how do you know? I was like, I go here. He said, you just look like you came out of your 6th grade choir performance. Okay, buddy, that's... Okay, no need to be mean.
And of course, we know that it's a combination of many things that is make this happen with us. But what do you think is actually the main cause of this? Because there might be for all this stuff, like there might be like one thing that is actually exponentially making it exponentially higher than all the other things that we are exposed to. One of those things that might be something that it's with us every fucking single day that we are consuming, or I don't know, or using on skin or whatever.
And because Gen Z is facing the slowest hiring market since the Great Recession, they are stressed. They feel like they're behind where their parents are, that they're supposed to have a good job at this age.
I graduated from college May of 2024, so a little over 2 years ago, with a bachelor's degree in data science.
Yeah.
And despite
Justice.
having glowing reviews from
Lefties, yeah, good. Yeah. If you think about that makes sense. Why we don't actually get to know what is the political side of these people that are aging faster?
my internship that I did post-grad from the director of the division that I worked in, I still do not have a full-time job in data science or anything in that general ballpark. And I'm about to go walk in to do a job interview for retail.
And a lot of people are feeling just like Larry Bird and Ron Weasley's love child over there. Someone commented, I'm on my 4th internship after graduating from a top 10 university. My grandfather worked as a chemist, but he told me they hired him as a chemist before he even went to school. Like, he started working as a chemist and then he went to college. That's how much things have changed. Now we have degrees and they won't hire us. I'm sorry, I'm just picturing it. Hey, excuse me, I'm here to be a chemist. Oh, have you ever done chemistry before? Never a day in my life. Well, here's some fucking isotopes. Get in there. It reminds me of this Onion article that 95% of grandfathers got their job by walking right up and asking with a firm handshake. Gen Z also feels behind because they can't save any money.
Yeah, I heard that in the boomer era, like here in my country, they were asked by the how is that called in English? Those guys that fight against fire? The fire what? I forgot the name. Jesus Christ. It's very simple. Firefighter. Yes, it's so simple. I forgot. I'm sorry. The firefighters, like, they were just like grabbing literally any man that passed it through and asking if they wanted to join the force. It was simple like that. No tests, no rules or everything, and you will stay with a stable job like forever, because you don't leave the job once you're inside. Like it's like it's it's a job that you cannot be kicked off here in my country, and you didn't have any type of tests, any type of skills. You just like. They just grabbed you on the street and asked you if you want to be part of it. Everyone says that here. Now you gotta do like all these insane like freaking tests and and physical exams and all that shit and not get into. Like, it's so insane.
Brother, if you're already 20 years old and you don't have $20,000 in your savings account, that is 100% on you for not applying to a chemistry job with a firm handshake. If you have $0, you might be ahead of a lot of people who have like $30,000 in debt.
Can someone tell me what a normal amount of money for a 23-year-old in their savings account should be? I'm just asking because I'm just a little curious, because some of my friends say that they're like, oh my God, I'm so broke. I just have $15,000 in my bank account. You just said you can put a fucking down payment on a car. What do you mean? I just have enough nickels to scrounge up to get me a little McDouble. Whoa, what's happening? Some people are talking about how they have negative and they're in so much debt. They're in $2,000 of debt in their credit card. I'm too scared to get a debit card. A credit card because I don't trust myself. I do not trust myself. I don't know how much a normal amount is.
Someone commented, I have $3 in my bank account and $1 in my savings. Someone else said, I have $160 in my savings account and I'm going to transfer it.
If that is happening there, you should know what's happening here.
Tomorrow to get a bagel. And someone noticed, this comment section feels like a really disorganized group message. It does. So why is Gen Z so stressed out and aging so quickly? I'll tell you my opinion, but first, this guy's is going viral.
Gen Z is aging like shit, and here's why. It's the stress, guys. You were too stressed growing up. It's the same reason presidents age exponentially faster.
I am baldy. Bad. I am 90. What the fuck?
When they're in office. Your environment was too stressful. It causes organisms to develop faster. When millennials were in school, when we were little kids, we were in peak society. Late 80s, the entirety of the 90s, early 2000s. That was the peak of Western society. And in this peak, very safe time to be a little kid. The greatest trauma of our childhoods was 9/11. And that was over there. That was a distant, far-off thing, unless you were in New York City, in which case it was closer. But the war itself was over there. And then the financial crisis happened as we were all graduating. Like, we grew up in a very, very relaxed time. Gen Z didn't have that advantage. You guys grew up, 9/11 had already happened. Your country's already at permanent war. You then are going through a financial crisis, so your parents are stressed out. They're stressing over money, stressing over keeping the house. They then pass this stress onto you, and then you go to school where you might get shot. And instead of having a childhood where your body could relax and develop normally, you had an expressed puberty because you were going in a fight or flight state constantly when you should be relaxed. And that ages you. That ages you fast as fuck. You essentially are a bunch of rabbits. You are in a constant high anxiety state. And that makes an animal develop faster because it's telling the body it lives in a world where it's not likely to live particularly long, so it needs to grow up faster so it can reproduce faster, and then it can spread its genes.
There's something to that, but I think it more has to do with Gen Z being given way less responsibility.
If you stop to think like that, it's really like scary. Because it's really sees something on genetic level. Oh my god.
At way later ages than previous generations. So smaller things become much more important to them. You know how people get a terminal diagnosis or someone close to them dies and they start living the way they really wanted to for a couple of months? I went skydiving. Or you know how you can be a reckless driver, but then you see a police car turn on their sirens, and even though it wasn't for you, you're spooked enough to drive really responsibly for the next 10 minutes? That's what happens when you have responsibility for things. You have profit and loss. You feel like what you're doing has weight, has consequence. Previous generations, like the latchkey kids, they had to figure out things on their own. Their parents weren't around. They had to work out their own fights. They had to remember how to get back home without a cell phone. They dealt with higher stress situations at much younger ages. A lot of Gen Z wasn't even allowed to walk a few blocks to a friend's house until they were 13. Someone said, my mom never let me out of the house to play with my friends until I was too old to be interested in that. I missed that whole developmental phase, you know, playing outside. But another important factor about why Gen Z can't handle stress, so much so that they're literally aging faster and getting cancer, is how different Gen Z's economy looks.
Gen Z is the hardest working generation in American history, and if they were born in the 1950s, about 1/3 of them would be multimillionaires and retired by the age of 40. And this is not just my opinion, this is what the raw numbers say. Based on Federal Reserve numbers, no generation has worked more than Gen Z. In the 1960s, households
I work a lot.
Worked on average about 38.5
and it does a lot, or at least use it until, I had to quit to move.
Total hours per week, compared to Gen Z two-income households that are working 85 to 90 hours per week. And in addition to that, 55% of them have reported working some kind of side hustle or second job. And so the question is, if they work so hard, why are they so poor? And it comes down to four main factors. Real estate prices.
I call one factor. Like, it depends. Like, no. Let's go four factor. Like, Jews, boomers, government, billionaires. Like, which is Jews again? And feminism, yeah.
Student loans, healthcare costs, and transportation costs. Let's talk about real estate. In the 1960s, a typical single-family house would cost between 1.5 and 2 times the median household income, but that was only one person working. Now with 2 people working, it's over 5 times that household income. Meaning if we put a typical Gen Z family with 2 incomes into a time machine back to the 1960s, they would be able to pay off a median single-family
I
house.
know. Actually, if we go through that track, it's like it's just Jews because everything else comes from that.
By the time they turn 25. They also wouldn't have student loans, there would be negligible healthcare costs, and cars would have been cheaper, so would gas. And so they would be able to save an additional $4,000 a month that they would be able to put towards retirement. Compounded over 15 years from ages 25 to 40 with 8% annual return, this would mean that the typical Gen Z household would be at about $1.4 million in net worth by the age of 40 and have a paid
Will I have another blackout because I called their name?
off house at the same exact time, meaning they could probably retire in their 40s.
Baby boomers expected only one person in the household to make enough to support the whole family, so they could buy a house on one income. Now, Gen Z needs 2 incomes to even consider buying a house like 15 years from now, because we've doubled the workforce. And because the very same boomers that bought a house on one income put up a bunch of zoning regulations that make it impossible to build any new houses for the next generation. And another important factor is how Gen Z is the first generation to grow up on short form content. Think about it. Every previous generation, whether they grew up on books or movies or Disney Channel, watched an actual story with an
Yeah, now people are growing with 6-7, right?
actual plot
And farming aura.
for at least 30 minutes of runtime. In the same 30 minutes, a Zoomer will have scrolled through 80 TikToks, none of which they'll remember the next day. So their brain is just getting used to recycling information that they don't care about. It trains your mind that nothing you're watching is meaningful because it'll only last for 10 seconds. So it trains you to lose direction, to lose focus, which is what so many Gen Zers feel now.
Hitting themselves with the hammer. Paul, the main reason why Gen Z is ruined. It's the reason why my mental health is ruined. What? TikTok. Oh, okay.
I added eggs to bananas. Look at how delicious it is.
But there's one factor I haven't mentioned. I think we totally screwed up how we handled COVID, and
Go
it's
on,
permanently
cursed
debilitated a generation. Time since lockdown has felt like this amorphic blob, to the point where Gen Z still feels the age they were in March of 2020. You have so many posts saying, how am I 24? I'm still a teenager. I can't be 25. I just turned 19.
I'm 24. I still think I'm a kid. I prefer going to dinner over a club. I'm ready for bed by 9 p.m. Grocery shopping is fun. My mom is my best friend. I learned to like brown. I stopped caring what people think. Going for a drive/walk is enough. Life is strange, man. Oh, you're not a kid because I bet you're fucking.
And they don't realize it, but they're all referencing the exact age they were when lockdown started. And so now I want you to watch this video that gives the 5 indications that someone hasn't grown up, and tell me you don't see this everywhere in Gen Z.
Number 1, you wait for people to tell you what to do. Mature people take initiative. They don't procrastinate. They don't depend on others to make things happen. They set their own rhythm, they set their own goals, they make their decisions, and they hold the steering wheel of their own life. But people who haven't grown up, they're like a baby bird waiting to be fed. If nobody feeds them, they just sit there hungry.
Oh my gosh, do I see this everywhere?
Yeah,
My friend did a group project.
It's if you are screwed, it's entirely your fault. Because you see me, I'm younger like you, and I'm successful. So it's entirely your fault. Why are you not successful like me, huh? Why are you not successful like me? Do something about it. It's your fault. You stop being like depressed inside your home with your empty or negative bank account and do something now. You know, it's so easy. Just like you can do that in a snap of what? Snap of fingers. Oh my god, snap of fingers. Snipe, oh my god.
In college, they had to pick a topic, and it was like 2 hours into their fucking brainstorming session. They were still like, oh, you know, well, this is a good idea. Oh, well, what do you think about that, Billy? Do you like that idea? It's like, can we just kill ourselves at this point? Finally, my friend stands up and he's like, all right, guys, we're gonna do the establishment of Acadia National Park. And they were all like so surprised. No one objected because no one really cared what they did. This is like a group project that's gonna take 2 days of their lives. But they're just so not used to making decisions that they don't want to get it wrong, even when there's like no consequence. I'll give you a more intense example. This one is so bad. I was in an Israel-Palestine class in college, and the professors were always worried that they were being imbalanced. So they'd be like, okay, we got a Jewish speaker to speak on behalf of Israel. Okay, we got a Palestinian speaker. Does everyone feel balanced right now? And they kept asking, like, who do you guys want to see as a speaker? Does everyone feel okay? But what they never cared about was actually getting good, interesting speakers. I could tell everybody was falling asleep no matter who was talking. So some of the Jewish students were like, we need more Israelis. And some other students were like, no, we need more Palestinians. And my friend, bless his heart, oh my gosh, he literally stands up and says, can we have
Justice for the People is asking, can you own land in Brazil? And the answer is huge no. Because at the moment that you pay or you cannot pay, like that you don't pay or because you're unable, whatever the fuck reason it is, the tax, like the yearly tax of the government that gets more and more expensive, you don't own your house anymore. You'll be kicked out of it. And also, like, we have clauses in the law that allow the government simply kicking you out just because the government wants, because you don't fit your property, how it's called in English, in Portuguese, it's because you're not, in Portuguese it would be like, what the fuck, I'm actually forgot how to say that in Portuguese as well. There is a law that we have about property, like, that I don't actually know how did, but probably was our current president in one of his endless mandates before, that your house needs to feel a social, yeah, it needs to feel a social purpose. You know, it's literally that. It's a social purpose, and if your house doesn't feel this social purpose, the government can just take you know, can just kick you out of your home without any reason, even if you are paying all the taxes correctly and everything, you know. So this is another reason of why you don't own your land. And what the hell means, like, this social thing that I said that I already forgot the word already. If your house don't feel that, and that's so vague, it's something so vague that the government can decide whenever they want, they can just kick out of your house, and they will pay you for the house, but they will pay like the value that they want, and will always be like almost nothing comparable to what actually your house actually costs, you know. And there is that. And also, like, you cannot own houses here as well, and land and stuff like that, because when you die, we have these little thing, these lovely things that it's called bureaucracy, and also like our country taxes the things, I forgot the words, the things that you can give to the that you can leave for the property things, the rights of all that property and stuff that you can left for your kids and to your wife and to whatever it is when you die, you know. The government takes, if I remember correctly, 40% of that. I might be wrong, I'm sorry but it's something very absurd. So every time you die and pass on to the next one of your family, the things that you own, the government will take a huge part of that. And if you cannot pay, the person that is receiving that cannot pay for these taxes, the government will just take everything away, that person actually owned. Like, so if you own a house here, quote unquote, huge quotes, own a house here and you want to left it to your kids, when you die, your kids, you owe a debt of like 30% over that house to the government. And if you don't pay, the government can take your house away, It's like I'm just saying, like, and there are many stuff. There are many more stuff. Okay, this is just the ones I can remember. But no, you don't own shit in my country. It's the same for the car. We have a yearly tax that it's called IPVA. That is 4% of the value of the car. And the cars here are so freaking expensive. I was talking about that with Eustace today. Are so freaking expensive. You can just like change it for a VPN in Brazil there, and try to search for cars online. Translate the word cars to Portuguese. It will be carros, CARROS, and you type like comprar carros, COMPRAR, and space. CARROS, and you press enter with a Brazilian VPN, and you see like the cars and their prices, and you will go insane. And you have to pay yearly 4% of the tax price of the car value price in the market to the government. That's so freaking huge and insane amount of money yearly that you gotta pay. And if you don't pay and the cops stop you on the street and you didn't have to pay this tax, they just literally rob your car and take your car away because you didn't pay this tax. That's it.
We have no more guest speakers. They all suck. Can we just talk? Can we actually say anything even one time? Because that was the thing. We were supposed to like all have a dialogue and bridge building sessions, but we never like said one thing to anyone ever, like at all. It was just these like terrible speakers who got like thousands of dollars and no one learned anything. And the class was enabled by all these Zoomers who didn't want to say that all the speakers sucked. They had like no agency. And the professor's like, what is your feedback? And still the Zoomers wouldn't say a word.
Whatever you want. You decide. You pick. You choose.
Do not do that to me. I can't choose and I can never choose.
Think about how many Zoomers can't pick a movie. They'll spend more time like trying to choose a movie than actually watching one and just end up scrolling on TikTok. And why do they go on TikTok? Think about it. Because there, they don't have to decide anything. The algorithm chooses for them. They don't have to pick what video to watch. Like,
this is so true that people don't want to decide the future of their kids anymore. They are giving all the choices of how to raise their kids and what they should be able or not to do to the government. And this is why everyone's getting censored. And everyone is just easily delivering all this power to the government. Yeah.
They have to on Netflix. And Netflix has taken note. They're trying to cater to the Zoomers' lack of attention span. That's why now if you sign into Netflix, they will start playing movies automatically.
Number 3, big dreams, zero action. And in our native language, we call it talk cock sing song ding dong ling long ching chong.
Say what?
Is it just me or did that seem really racist?
But people who haven't grown up, they plan their future every single day and they do nothing about it. They want to make big money, but they refuse to eat bitter, refuse to stay consistent. One hand complaining about life, the other hand continuing to do nothing.
Having so many actor friends, I know so many have told me about the short film they're gonna make, or the TV show they're gonna produce, or I also know so many people who want to start a YouTube channel and I check back a year later and they haven't even like posted one thing, and then they're a year older and just so much less likely to ever start it. And that causes a lot of unhappiness. They know they're not who they pretend to be, who they think they are, a filmmaker, a YouTuber. And presumably, they can't shave with their eyes closed, so they have to look themselves in the mirror and face that every day.
Number 5, you depend on other people way too much. They don't expect someone else to save them. Even small decisions, they need to ask someone else because they can't decide for themselves.
I've seen this so many times. I would text someone like, hey, can you talk later? And they're like, please don't text me that, I get too anxious, and then I can't focus on anything. What? What happens when your boss emails you that you have a meeting tomorrow? Are you just not gonna sleep? I've seen so many Zoomers post that when they have an appointment.
I have to agree with him in these parts. Like, when I know that I have to do something with someone, that I have something combined, like I really feel anxious. I have to agree with that. I fit on that part. Yeah, it happens with me.
In the late afternoon, their whole day is a wash. They can't do anything in the first half of the day because they're just constantly thinking about how anxious they are
professional
about their
Gen
4
Z,
o'clock
I will not
appointment.
stop watching music and return to my mom. I hate how I have an appointment at 3 p.m. so I can't do anything all day type of person. Not gonna lie, this used to happen with me a lot. I'm not, it doesn't happen like too much with me anymore. Just here and there, but not so often. But it used to be a huge problem to me. I'm not gonna lie, that used to happen with me very often. I would freeze and not be able to do anything because I know that hour I have something to do. That's crazy, right? It doesn't make any sense. It doesn't, but it's just like, it's just what happens with you. And guys, by the way, I don't watch TikTok. I don't use TikTok. I never did. So it's not even a TikTok thing. I don't know what's going on. You know? It's not a TikTok thing because I don't use that. And I had this problem.
Even if it's just
And I don't watch shorts either.
like for their like Gen Alpha skibbity party.
If we make plans for the evening, I can't do anything for the entire day leading up to those plans. It could be hours away. I will sit here and wait and rot, just waiting for the moment that I could start getting ready. Like, how could I commit to anything knowing that I have something going on later? There's like a countdown going on in my mind. I don't feel like I have enough time for anything. And like, frankly, it makes me regret even saying yes to the plans to begin with. So excited to see you, though.
So you combine Gen Z's refusal to grow up and inability to tolerate any stress with a job market extremely hostile to newcomers, and you get the most depressed generation since the Great Depression.
Can't stand it when people say,
oh, Gen Z is so lazy, no one wants to work anymore. What is it with this generation?
Bitch, I would work if I could fucking get a job.
Yep. College, what? College grads face one of the toughest job markets in a decade. Right now is a really difficult time to find a job. Expert said, I love this. Like specialist, like expert, like yeah.
You try being Gen Z and try getting a job, see how long it takes you. My generation is entering the most cooked job market of all time. It's so bad that for the first time, the new grad unemployment rate is higher than the unemployment rate overall. Our jobs are all replaced by AI, reviewing resumes, the whole hiring process is replaced by AI. No one even looks at your fucking resume anymore. You don't even get rejected from jobs anymore, you just don't get a response. The job market is so cooked that more than 50% of Gen Z has a side hustle just to stay financially afloat. And a lot of us are freelancers. I'm a freelancer. Believe me, our generation is not lazy because we're the generation who has to actually pull ourselves up by our bootstraps and constantly find different freelance gigs, different side hustle gigs to keep us floating above the water. Boomers, you got a full-time job with benefits straight out of college and probably stayed at that job for 40 years.
Kids aren't even going out anymore.
Exactly. It was so common, right? For them to get one job, like easy, like you said, like you was just asked on the street, going somewhere to, oh, do you want to work here? And it was even for jobs that you cannot be even like kicked out of like here in my country have these jobs that you enter, and I don't know if you guys country have, and you cannot like be you cannot be fired once you're in, you know. So even these types of jobs, they use it to get these jobs without any test or anything, just by going somewhere. And I'm not saying this, I'm not like, this is story that I told of the firefighter. I heard that of a fucking boomer, you know. So I know that's true. That literally happened with him. He was going somewhere on the center of the city, and then he was passing through like in front of the firefighter like station and thing, you know. And they asked if he wanted to join, and he was like, yeah, I don't know what to do. Oh, you're gonna learn and everything. And he learned, and he stayed there like until he got retirement, like literally up until this very day. Wow, so difficult, right, guys? So difficult. Wow. They had everything so easy, so fucking easy.
which I'm actually a big fan of because I think it's more fun to play Zingo with your closest friends in your living room than like drink with strangers at a bar. Zingo! But it's because they can't afford it. Gen Z just don't really do much of anything.
I've been down for so long.
Why do young people not want to go out anymore, acting like you're retired at the age of 19? Because everything is so expensive. Exactly. Why? Just to wake up tomorrow hungover and with less money? Yes, exactly. Exactly. It's like myself. And again, I was talking with it. I don't know if it was Eustace or if it was Frosty. But I was talking today with someone about that. That like there is no value. I think it was Eustace too. There is no value in you spending the night out and drinking and partying. Like it's meaningless. You only spend money and get hungover and stuff like that, you know? It's totally pointless. I don't, by the way, I don't drink or anything, so it doesn't make any sense. And like in case of my culture, you also put yourself in risk because here it's so fucking dangerous for you to be going out all the time.
Seems like my soul was dead and gone.
And this is a problem because I don't care who you are, where you're from, where you're going, or where you've been.
Or where you are going, or where you've been.
Everybody watching this video, the worst person in the world, your worst enemy, your mom, your dog, your one sneaky link from that vacation in Cancun, all want to be happy. And so because me and my fellow Zoomers grew up so shielded from the realities of life, of things going right or going wrong, when we are willing to work hard at a job and nobody's hiring us...
Kisama, yeah, Mizuki only drinks wine in bed under the covers. No, the only time this year that I drank the wine, like, was that time that I told you guys on the stream that I was drinking that. This was the only time in this year that I drink the wine. And probably the only time that I will.
It's devastating. So we're like these dysfunctional, like overgrown kids with adult
I
responsibilities.
drink also twice
but we often
a
don't
year,
even have the
wine.
responsibilities because we can't get a job. So we end up just like staying home.
It's usually on the Christmas that I drink 1 cup or half cup of wine. And usually, and the other one is usually in the winter like this, where it's a little bit more cold. And then I wanna have a wine sometime, but I really don't. I really don't have this thing like, oh, I like wine or I like beer, stuff like I don't like it. I really don't. Beer, I don't even I just find that so much it's really not good. The taste of the beer is not good.
Home all the time, or partying too much.
I tried those, but I didn't like that.
Or starting to do cocaine just so we can
I was 14, by the way.
feel good again, so we can feel happy again. Our minds are completely scattered, like flittering, trying to find some semblance of meaning because we are lost. After the destruction of World War I, Gertrude Stein looked at like Hemingway and John Dos Passos and said, "You are all a lost generation." And I think she was wrong. I think she was a century too early. I think it's the Zoomers. Like in a sense, Gen Alpha, yeah, they're brain rotted. Yeah, their brains are turning to goo. But at least they're like doing that together and they know what they're about. They know they're about brain rot. Like Gen Z is on the border. We don't know who or what we are. We're just looking for anything. And that's why so many Zoomers are joining religion and so many Zoomers are becoming communists and so many Zoomers are dropping out of college and becoming radical gender theorists in college. We're just trying to find something to hold on to. In the movie City Slickers, Billy Crystal works a job he hates that he's constantly stressed about, and then his wife leaves him. So he goes to a ranch with this mysterious cowboy, Jack Palance. And Jack tells Billy the secret to life is one thing.
Do you know what the secret of life is?
No, what?
This.
Your finger?
One thing. Just one thing. You stick to that and everything else don't mean shit.
That's great, but what's the one thing?
That's what you gotta figure out.
What he means is that it's great to try new things, but it's great to try new things so you can see if you like them. If you're constantly throwing out your friends and getting new ones, and constantly switching careers and getting new hobbies, hoping that this will finally make you happy, you'll never make any progress, and you'll feel like a perpetual infant. You'll look back at the last 20 years and wonder what you did during any of them. G.K. Chesterton said the object of opening your mind to think is the same as opening your mouth to eat. It's to shut it again on something solid, not to leave it agape. Imagine going up to G.K. Chesterton and he's like, you should close your mouth, young man, and you're just like, oh! Because here's a little secret. Remember what I told you in the beginning? That people under chronic stress are more likely to get basically every disease and die super early, if not completely suddenly? That's not true. It is true, but it's only half true. The researchers found something remarkable. It literally might be the most important study anyone has ever done.
Oh, really?
Outside of
Convince
the study
me,
of
try
evolution.
me.
I don't know what's more important than this. They found that if you're under chronic stress, but you think it's a good thing, you think you're learning from it, growing from it, that it's empowering you to do hard things, not only do you erase the negative health impacts of stress, you fucking reverse them. You become less likely to die than the people who didn't even experience.
Oh, that's why then I don't look old. Like I said, people always say that I'm younger than I look. So that's why, because I like what I do here.
The stress at all!
There was a study that looked at 30,000 people across 8 years' time, and they looked at the mortality rate of people who.
But I'm still young, and I've been doing this for not even 2 years already. But I think I always have been doing stuff like that. Like, for example, before I was working teaching, And I also like that. I was always doing stuff that I like. Even though it paid terrible. Yeah, it paid so freaking terrible, my God. But I was doing that because I loved that, And yeah, I think I was always doing things that interest me, and I think that's why I don't have these problems then.
Had very high levels of stress. And
if that's true, I don't know. I think that there is definitely stuff in your food or in your environment, in your, social stuff as well, economic stuff, all of this matters. All of this obviously is making the difference to everyone. The financial instability, everything. But what I'm trying to say is that I got lucky. It seems that I got lucky with my, at least with it is in this situation.
And here's the bad news first. The bad news is that people who have very high levels of stress and believe that their stress is bad for them.
My only reason of stress is my government. It's literally my government. I think that once I'm out of here, and I'm already established myself there and already, cut all ties with my country, I will be I'll be so fucking good. I would be so, my head will be floating, because I will not wake up every day to see another new tax being created or more rules for censoring me, And yeah, then I'll be able to have a gun there. I can't have a gun here. Yes, I want to have one.
For them, die at about 43% higher mortality rates. Okay, so not great. People with that same high level of stress who believed that stress was good for them or enhancing or helpful in some manner actually had the lowest rate of mortality of the entire study. And I'm talking lower than the people who had very
I don't know absolute rates, if it does pew pew, it's already very good to me. Yeah. If you make pew pew and you murder that person that tried to do something to you, is already very good.
little or no stress in their lives. So the finding of that study was that 182,000 people died that year, not from stress, but from the belief that stress was bad for them.
That is fucking transformative. If you realize that the stress you feel can build you up and not break you down, you will literally extend your life. This is like Magneto-level superpower. Think about your own experience. If you don't feel in charge of your life, if you feel like you're the hapless foam on other people's tidal waves, you can't really feel happy. And I love classic kids shows and kids movies, but it's a little worrying how much my generation is rewatching them. A huge reason is that we're not making good shows and movies anymore. That's totally true. But another one might be that it reminds us of our childhood when everything was taken care of for us. And we want to go back there again.
Now we see tweets like this, all this stress isn't good for the baby, me. There's the adulting Reddit, and if you're too young, adulting comes from like BuzzFeed, millennial culture, and like Tumblr, where people would say they were adulting whenever they like
I think it's that? No. I don't think it's that one. Wait a second. Oh, it's this one, you know? Pew pew. Anatomy of a pew. You know? So if it makes pew pew is good. It's already good. It doesn't need to make bang. You know, it doesn't need to make bang. Just make pew pew. Yeah, it's already good enough.
paid their taxes or whatever.
I know one kid in college, between every class, he would watch Phineas and Ferb, and another kid came up to me and said he would watch me between class as Ricky. Think about one of the first bands Gen Z ever really got into, 21 Pilots, and what did they sing?
Wish we could turn back time to the good old days.
I don't know if this is an unpopular opinion, maybe it is among Gen Z, but like despite all of its fucking problems and stresses, I like being an adult. I like being responsible for myself because for one, I don't have to listen to stupid rules from stupid people, and it's definitely more scary. But so is riding a bike without training wheels, or surfing instead of boogie boarding.
I really said surfing instead of boogie boarding.
Or surfing instead of boogie boarding. But I think Bethany Hamilton and Eddie Merckx are glad they tried surfing and biking.
Sometimes I think to myself, you know, what do I want to do for work when I'm older? What do I want to do? And then I realize I'm already older. Do you know what I mean? Like, this was supposed to be figured out by now.
I'm 22 years old and I don't know what the fuck I want to do with my life.
I graduate uni this year, don't have a job lined up, and I still live with my parents.
Is it just me, or does it feel like Gen Z is like one of the most unhappy generations right now? Like, I'm personally Gen Z, and I feel that no matter what I've already achieved in my life, I'm still not happy.
I am terrified of making decisions I'll regret in the future. Cannot make a decision.
Kids are not resilient. They're not resilient. If they were, we would have.
I'm happy. I'm happy where I'm here and when I'm with my parents. But every time I remember that my government exists and it's trying to destroy my life every day, I get unhappy very fast.
Less people with anxiety, depression, general unhappiness.
Are we all feeling this universal feeling that we just don't care because at the end of the day, nothing really matters? Truly, like, what are we doing with our lives?
I'm seeing that with every Gen Z I know. Business Insider has a new article about how 25 is the new 21, how today's 25-year-olds are 50% more likely to have mom and dad pay for their lifestyle than previous generations. I know this 28-year-old whose parents did really well, but they did a little too well. And now he's pushing 30 smoking weed in his bedroom with no plans to not do that. Because he never had to grow up. He knew no matter what he did, he would be living in the same room, treated the same way. It's not just that he was coddled, it's that he knew his decisions didn't have weight, so he didn't feel any actual motive to make good decisions. I saw him recently and he was like, Casey, what are you in college, a sophomore now? I was like, no, I finished school. He's like, what? Because time has blended together for him. He's had no milestones because he's not doing anything different each day. And so he's gonna look back on so many of his 20s and be like, where did it go? I'm of course very against divorce, but I know one camp counselor told me that he noticed the kids of divorced parents were more mature because they had to deal with the real world quicker. It sucks what they went through, but they knew from a young age, gosh, what I do around mom or dad, like it's gonna have an impact. What I do matters.
Many Gen Xers, for example, grew up with a lot of trauma. We had a lot of hustle. We had a lot of desire to get out of the house. We had a lot of desire to get a job and pay for things for ourselves because our parents weren't going to buy them for us. This generation is so used to just getting what they want that they completely avoid situations they might be in that cause rejection.
So this almost 30-year-old,
If you're talking about Gen Z, I don't agree with that. But hell, you guys know I don't agree with that because I grew up never getting what I want. Not only because my parents couldn't afford that to me, but also because they always teach me that life it's not like that, getting everything that you want. I wasn't raised to be princess, you know? Like most of the women are being raised to right now. I was raised in a very rough situation, but with loving parents. And with a dad, which most of this nowadays doesn't have to begin with.
I know in his bedroom. What happens when he turns 30? That's when he'll start his career? He's gonna have kids at 45 and never know his grandchildren? He'll train his brain during his...
So that's what happens. That's the result of what happens when you grow with both your parents together. Not always like try to eat each other, like eat each other in the sense like always fighting for every little thing. Always like, have discussions and, and literally try to murder each other inside the home. When you actually have a dad, you actually have a father through all your life, Yeah, that makes a lot of difference. That does. And also when you're not raised to, oh, the world belongs to you, my princess. I will give dad will give everything that my princess want and doesn't teach you a girl to have accountability or anything. So yeah, that probably, that's when all of that happens, you grow a Mizuki. That's how to grow a Mizuki. Yeah, literally.
His most formative years, that he's a loser who lives with his parents, who doesn't live the life he wants. That's what he's training himself to think every day from 20 to 30. And that's of course gonna stick. I am not saying financial help from your parents is bad. The job market is crazy right now. And I am not with those parents who kick their kids to the street at 18 years old and say sink or swim. But what I am saying is this. There has been some fantastic research about the kids who always follow school rules and the kids who never do. The kids who never do, as you could easily predict, usually ended up in jail, or dead, or best case scenario, broke, and always screaming at everyone in their lives. But the kids who always followed the rules, who were always early to class, never took a sip of alcohol before their 21st birthday, the hall monitors in elementary school, they ended up almost as bad. They could never decide anything for themselves. They could never choose a career if it wasn't handed to them. Their lives were just a prison of their own making. So all the kids who always said no were thrown in jail. The kids who could never say no built their own. But the kids who picked their battles, who knew when to hold them, knew when to fold them, knew when to walk away, and knew when to run, had the best lives by far. It's not bad if you're getting financial assistance from your parents, or even if you're still living with them, but it is bad if you're not trying to live your own life at all, if you're not setting your own course, because it won't get easier. Your mind will never be as moldable as it is today, and you need to start molding it, because if you start thinking bad thoughts about yourself, it'll kill you, literally. And one of the best ways to think well of yourself...
Why they put these things so fast? Like, I want to see the data. Why you don't let me see the data? I want to see the data. Show me the data. Researchers at the Washington University School of Medicine in St. Louis took a broad approach to investigate why there has been an alarming rise in cancer in younger generations over the last decade.
And one of the best ways to think well of yourself is to start doing the things you've always wanted to do and not say you'll do them one day. Because once you do...
Sonic Q, Mizuki, can you link this video? I want my son to see this, as I think it will help him. There.
You start doing the things you claimed you always wanted to do, you start trusting yourself, and you can start handling stress better, because even if your life goes every which way but loose, you'll know that you are becoming who you want to be and doing the things you always wanted to do. You're not a fraud who says they'll be one way but is a complete different way. You have that integrity. But Gen Z isn't listening right now. They're not getting their driver's license, they're not drinking alcohol, they're not getting part-time jobs as teenagers, they're not even hooking up. Some of these things may be good, some of them may be bad, but they're all indicative of a generation that's lost its way, that doesn't want to grow up because it's more comfortable in the nest. It's not so much that they're stuck in adolescence as we're stuck in this in pre-adolescence. Our parents let us overgrow our childhood by not letting us cross the street until we turned 13 years old. And because your brain is so formative at that time, a lot of kids never stepped out of that mindset of needing to ask mom if it's safe if you're too anxious to cross the street. And so Gen Z is so indecisive. They don't know what career they should start. We don't know what careers will even be around in 10 years thanks to AI. But here's the problem. Potential is nothing. You can say, I don't want to pursue one career, Casey, because then I'll lose the ability to pursue every other career. But when you don't commit to anything, you end up with nothing. When you commit to one career, or to one spouse, or to one city. You don't lose out on all the other potential careers or wives or experiences because they were never real. Potential isn't real. So when you make a concrete choice, when you pursue one job in particular, you don't lose out on all the other jobs. You actually get an infinite gain because you took the potential of 0 and turned it into something actual. So it's better to...
I don't think that's true to me because I don't think I'll be teaching again. I don't think so. Probably. That may happen. But I'm not sure. Yeah. So, but yeah, it doesn't mean that I repent or anything. I like what I was doing. It's something that I like too. Like I like this as well. I told in the beginning that I could link one thing to another, but I think it didn't end up well. Maybe in future I may have a channel just for that. Who knows? But I don't see, at least not right now, doing that kind of stuff anymore. Unless, like, I cannot do this, then I'll probably go back to that instead of doing something brand new, you know? Yeah.
To make the wrong choice than to make no choice at all. It's so much better to have a bad job than no job. Because if you have a bad job, you know what you don't like. You might meet a couple people who can help you get a good job. You learn what it's like to have a job. Maybe you learned how to negotiate a higher salary. And what I'm telling you now, that it's better to have a bad one than none at all, you have to believe it all the way down. Not just in jobs, but in everything. And I mean everything. Like, I think having a bad life is better than having no life. And some of you might think you disagree with me, but I don't think you do. I think we'd all agree that a lot of the kids in Equatorial Guinea, or Ukraine, or Palestine, or Appalachia are leading poor lives. But we fight for those kids, and we're horrified when they're killed, or they overdose, because their lives are worth living. If you have a bad life, it can eventually become a good one. One of the best pieces of advice professors can give to undergrads is if they don't know how to write their thesis statement, write it badly. Once you have a first draft, you have a place to start, and then you have a place to go. That's how I make these videos. I have an idea I start thinking about, and I just start writing, and then I adjust. I don't consult with like 30 YouTube experts and draw out like a huge Venn diagram. I speak raw, I speak earnestly what I think, and then I maybe clean up some of the edges. Maybe I don't.
I've noticed stunted growth of this generation, specifically men, on a wide scale. You could point to many things that demonstrate the arrested development of this generation. Men dropping out of the labor force, the college entrance rates being 60% women, 40% men, and the graduation rates being even more skewed at 70-30. Some people say these men are avoiding college or dropping out to pursue some greater ambition, like starting a business. And while that may be the case for some, it was probably the idea for most of them. Let's just be honest, a lot of these guys are just fucking off. You could point to the rate of single men and lonely men with no brotherhood. This arrested development is also demonstrated by Gen Z's obsession with escapism and fantasy. And it's cool if you like these sort of things, but the amount of people I see make it damn near their whole personality is crazy. And this is because community is dying, and culture alongside it. Nobody has a real sense of self anymore. When I look around at young people my age, a lot of them are submerged in this.
And that's also because the collectivism was intentionally, artificially pushed through everyone. This already helped with the deletion of the self.
Escapism, whether it be anime.
All by design, another Jew plan. Oh yeah, now everything to me is their fault. Oh my god, what you done to me, Trek?
Video games, the hub, weed and other drugs, usually a combination of most of these things. It's what they spend most of their time doing, and in a way it's kind of what they live for. And a lot of these guys who live this sort of lifestyle, they're really smart too. Like, they had a lot of potential, but it's just you know, it's over now.
On that guy's point about how at the same time that Gen Z isn't growing up, we see Gen Z get really involved in live action roleplay or furries or fandoms more than ever before. I'm reminded of what Roger Ebert said. Roger Ebert, the most famous film critic of all time, who knew every fandom better than like anyone in the industry, said this: "Extreme fandom may serve as a security blanket for the socially inept, who use its extreme structure as a substitute for social skills. If you are Luke Skywalker and she is Princess Leia, you already know what to say to each other, which is so much safer than having to ad-lib it. Your fanish obsession is your beard. If you know absolutely all the trivia about your cubbyhole of pop culture, It saves you from having to know about anything else. That's why it's excruciatingly boring to talk to such people. They're always asking you questions they know the answer to. Of course, that's not true for everyone. You guys know I dressed up as Doctor Who for a week for the 50th anniversary, but there's definitely something to what he's saying. Gen Z doesn't feel grown up, so we identify with characters who are. It reminds me of James Dean. James Dean was rejected by his father. He told him he could never be an actor. And so he spent his very short life trying to find a surrogate father figure in every older actor he met, especially Marlon Brando. But he never
I'm sorry, everything that he's saying now in the end seems like bullshit to me.
could. And so he tried to find excitement elsewhere, and he started racing. And eventually, he famously drove off of a canyon. Gen Z doesn't feel grown up or in charge of our lives. So we look to brave pop culture figures who don't only control their lives, but control whole movements, like Harry Potter or Tyler Durden, because they're powerful, and we're not. But if we're just like them, then maybe we can feel a little power. I'm gonna read you one of my favorite poems now. It matters not how straight the gate, how charged with punishments the scroll. I am the master of my fate. I am the captain of my soul. Do you think Gen Z is captaining their souls? I'll respond to as many comments as I can. And if you're Gen Z, I hope you do. Thank you to our patrons, Pop Camera. Thank you to our patrons.
No, I don't agree with that. Like, not in the beginning. I think, like, I mean, obviously, you gotta do some. You gotta have like some confidence in yourself. You wanna believe. Like, you have to believe that you can change things for yourself. Even though, like, it's like I usually say, like around 20%, if I remember, of your life is actually decided by your own choices, and actually, like, for your own strengths, and the rest is independent of you. It's all the situation that is around you, like your environment, the people that are your parents, your friends, your how you are where you live and how you are blended with society. All of that will influence, like, and only this 20% is actually something that you can take a hold on in your life. But it's not only that. You cannot, like, change things alone, and that not just because of that, but you actually and okay, if you don't want to believe on that because you are atheist or whatever the fuck is, it's your problem. But you cannot go that without God. You cannot, like, it's not just about you doing your best. You need to believe in that that God, like, is actually giving you the strength to do that. Otherwise, you'll not be capable of going that much far. You'll not have, like, by your own, you will get tired eventually of pushing, of trying your best. And when you do, you will feel like it all was pointless and meaningless. You gotta like, have something else. And that thing, like, that thing can only be God, He's the only one that will keep you going forward when that time comes. Because you see that will be there a moment that you see that by yourself, by you alone, it's not enough for you to keep going. So if you don't have a God in that moment, you have, like, a huge fall, and probably will end up depressed or even worse. You gotta have God with you. Yeah. Well, it's 100% by God's will, but as far as my own intention, then that's on me. Yes, it's both. You gotta do the things by yourself. You gotta, like, motivate yourself and push things by yourself. But that's not enough. You need God, That's what I think. You guys can think differently, okay? So yeah, just want to remind you guys to join our Discord server. You can do that by clicking on the link tree that is on screen. Like, not click, you cannot click on that, but I mean, you can type that, or you can hop on the links below on the description of this video, and you can click on the link tree there, and you will find the link for the Discord there. And there's also a direct link to the Discord server there as well. If you go through Linktree, you also find many more links, including links to join our Patreon or to support me on Ko-Fi as well. You can also hop on the Kick link and give to some subs or subscribe to the Kick platform. And that's it. These are the best ways to support Foxu. Avoid Vtuber at all costs. It gets like about to 67%. Like it's a lot. It's over 50% easily, and just like 55% already on the moment of the payment. But also like more around 30% that the YouTube like gets to pay the. It's like what they say, right? Like what they say, they need to get 30% of my income there to pay United States. So I lose almost the entire money that I get through Vtuber. So don't support me through Vtuber because almost none of your money is going directly to me. I would say like 30% of your money is going to me on YouTube, you know? So yeah, before we go any further, I want to take this brief moment here to thank all of you, my patrons, for the incredible support to my work here on YouTube, and especially my 5-tail Fox Tier member, the Holy Ball, and to all of my 3-tail Fox Tier members, Wallony Wolf, Fanny Sylvie, Heat Himself, Chile Not Serious, Eustace the Useful, Zealous Isaiah, Ala Rosas, Max Tenor, Nugutino, Avery, Halcyonic Eder, and TV8. Thank you very, very much. You guys are amazing. Also, thanks to everyone that have been supporting me on Ko-Fi, Kick, and to all of my YouTube members. You can support this channel life and growth with just $5 a month and gain access to many perks. This is less than a burrito. Check out my Patreon. Link is in the description below. And that's it for today, my dear Foxlings. See you guys in the next one. Bye bye.